positives. I heard something this morning that just floored me. Botox. People use Botox to get rid of wrinkles and they end up with kind of permanent smiles. The smile that comes from Botox actually changes the chemistry in your brain so that you have a harder time thinking negative thoughts. So there's a benefit to Botox beyond just vanity for whatever people have been using it for. But I think there's ways of getting rid of those negative thoughts and turning them into positive thoughts for all the rest of us. One of them is to recognize that there really are no negatives in our lives. If you examine in your own life when something happened that you thought was a negative, and the overall result of it, you'll often find that it opened doors, allowed you to get out of a rut, change what you were doing. I, for instance, got hit by a dump truck. Now that seems like a big negative, doesn't it? 50,000-pound dump truck bang into the side of your car. Laying in the hospital bed for 2 months, for 2 weeks, not 2 months. 3 months without driving. Probably about 3 years without being able to leave the local area because I couldn't get in a car for more than about 20 minutes or a plane or anything like that. Sounds depressing, negative. There were some very positive things that came out of it. One of them is I learned I had all kinds of friends that I didn't really think were close friends. They were incredibly close friends. Stepped forward, took care of all kinds of things. And I would have an incredibly hard time getting through this period without them. I live alone. All of my family is 2,000 miles away. I needed to depend on friends, and they were there. The second thing that came out of it was I look very carefully before I go through a red light, before I go into an intersection where I've got a green light if I'm the first one there. So a little bit more cautious driving. The other thing is, 2 weeks laying in a hospital bed, you do a lot of self-examination. What's life about? Why am I here? Why did I survive this? And what should I be doing with my life? And I did a lot of that. And I changed some basic structure of what I was doing, changed some of what I was doing for my business. And I think if I look back on it, I was stuck in a rut. Yes, the rut was somewhat positive, but I needed to expand and switch some things because I was living not as much on purpose as it would have been nice to be doing. We have a lot of people in the room here who have had unfortunately have been downsized, lost jobs, had businesses fail, have had to do some readjusting because of that. And I think looking around, almost every one of you has picked up in some way and examined yourselves and are trying to refocus on something that you really want to be doing rather than what you were ending up doing. So I would even do that as a positive, provided you could get through the period of lack of income. That's something that's a struggle for people. I also know people that have gone through foreclosures, bankruptcies, horrendous financial things, only to get the opportunity from that to re-examine how they think about money, to realize what's important in life as opposed to spending everything they have. They get down to basics and recognize what's important in life and change their habits accordingly. I think that's a healthy thing to be doing. So I'd like to challenge you the next time something happens that you think is a negative, and it happens, like, oh my God, I got a flat tire. Who knows what would have happened if you'd been able to continue on your route the same way? You might have gotten hit by the dump truck. Might have been the thing that saved you from a problem. Look at it as just one of life's circumstances, and if there is an opportunity to look for a positive way to spin it, it's a much healthier way to live life, looking at things as situations that allow you to examine your life, allow for opportunity. So, negatives and positives. Just pretend there are no negatives anymore. Everything's positive. It's either positive on the face or it's an opportunity.